why people start avoiding you after 70 and how to fix it. Before it's too late, seniors must know. There's a quiet sadness many grandparents experience, but rarely talk about. It's the feeling of being gently ignored when calls go unanswered and texts are read but never replied to. At first, they tell themselves they must be busy, but over time, that silence grows into a loneliness that no words can fill. I remember Evelyn, 74, from Oregon. Every day she would call her youngest daughter, sometimes 3 times in a single afternoon, just to ask, "Did you eat? Is the baby feeling warm? It's cold today. Don't forget your jacket." She called out of love, out of longing, out of the desire to care. But one day, her daughter finally sent a short message. "Mom, I love you so much, but can I please have a little space to breathe?" That one sentence stunned Evelyn into silence. She hadn't realized her love, when it crossed certain boundaries, had quietly become a burden. A 2021 study by the Geriatric Research Institute at the University of Michigan revealed that over 68% of adults aged 30 to 45 felt emotionally overwhelmed when their parents contacted them too frequently, even if it came from love. Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett, a renowned psychologist in aging, once said love without respect easily turns into control. And control, even unintentional, builds distance. The heartbreaking truth is that many elders don't even realize they're crossing that invisible boundary. They think, "I'm calling because I'm lonely," while the person on the other end feels cornered, unable to simply be themselves. And so the calls become fewer, not because the love is gone, but because the need for peace has grown. Instead of calling repeatedly, try sending a short, gentle message. "Are you free for a bit? I miss hearing your voice." When we offer others the freedom to choose, they're more likely to welcome our presence with warmth. Because in relationships, sometimes silence, when it comes with grace, can be a form of love too. And if you've ever felt heartache from waiting on a call that never came, maybe it's time to ask yourself, have I unknowingly made them feel emotionally tired? Have you ever gone through something like this? Share your story in the comments, because your experience might just be the story someone else needs to hear today. And if this message resonates with you, please like and share the video so we can grow a more connected, understanding Golden Wise Elders community. But not every disconnect comes from being too present. Sometimes it's how we speak, how we keep revisiting the past, that quietly pushes others away. And that brings us to the next habit, living too much in the past and forgetting the present. That doesn't mean you can't talk about the past. It just means you should share your memories as a way to connect, not to overshadow the present. Try mixing in a question like, "How was work today?" Or, "Did anything fun happen recently?" It's like opening a door, letting the present walk in with you. You know, there's something magical that happens when we take interest in someone's present life. We get to live a little more in their world too. And that is just as precious as a beautiful memory. And sometimes what we share doesn't even need to be about the past or present. It just needs to come at the right time. Because even advice that comes from love, if said at the wrong moment, can create distance. And that brings us to the third habit, one that many see as harmless, but often makes the gap between generations grow wider. Constant complaining and unintentionally spreading negative energy. Some days we wake up, look out the window and sigh, "It's raining again." Then we turn on the TV, and it's all war, inflation, bad news one after another. Without thinking, we let out a deep sigh and call our daughter. The world is getting worse every day. But what we don't realize is that these words, even if they come from concern, can make others feel more burdened than comforted. Carol, 77, living alone in Boise, Idaho, used to be very close with her young neighbor Lisa. Every Sunday they would drink tea together. But over time, Carol started to complain about the government, her health, her son who never called, until one day Lisa gently said, "I just need a quiet morning today." And after that, their Sunday teas quietly faded away, with no real goodbye. The sad thing is, Carol never understood why she was being avoided. In her heart, she was just speaking the truth. But the truth, if it offers no hope, doesn't always need to be said. According to Harvard Health Publishing, older adults who maintain a positive mindset live on average 7.5 years longer than those who often carry a pessimistic view. Our emotions directly impact immunity, heart health, sleep, and even memory, though many don't realize it. Research also shows that a person's energy, positive or negative, spreads like a soft breeze, affecting everyone around them. Dr. Stephen Southwick, a clinical psychologist at Yale School of Medicine, said, Older adults don't need to pretend to be happy all the time, but if they can choose one positive story a day to share, they'll feel the change inside themselves. No one's telling you not to feel sad, but maybe let joy accompany your morning and save your sadness for someone ready to truly listen. You could start with a simple shift in words. It's raining today. Reminds me of biking in the rain when I was younger. You see, just by changing how we end a sentence, we can change the whole tone of a conversation. If today your heart feels heavy, try this. Remember one small happy moment from this week and share it in the comments below. That one positive story might just be what someone else needed to smile today. And if you're thinking, but I was only giving advice, just trying to help, then let's move to the next habit together. Because sometimes even the most loving advice, if not timed right, can push people further away, even when all you wanted was the best for them. The fourth reason is this: giving advice at the wrong time, or when no one asked. There are times when we simply want our loved ones to have a better life. We see them heading down what we believe is the wrong path, parenting differently than we did, spending money without thinking, and we just can't stay silent. What we believe is well-meant advice often lands as unwanted criticism. Margaret, 76, from Louisville, Kentucky, once shared in a caregiving forum, "I gave advice because I loved them, but one day my daughter said, 'Mom, sometimes I just need you to listen, not fix me.' I was stunned and suddenly realized I never asked before I spoke." Margaret's story is far from rare. Many older adults feel it's their duty to speak up because they've been through it, because they have experience. But what we know to be right may only be right for our own time, not necessarily for the world our children and grandchildren are living in now. Dr. Cheryl Woodson, a geriatrician and author of To Survive Caregiving, once wrote, "Advice, if it's not invited, will always carry the feeling of judgment. Even when spoken gently, the listener may still feel criticized or controlled." According to a 2022 survey by the Pew Research Center, 58% of American adults said they felt disconnected from their parents or grandparents because conversations often turned into reminders instead of emotional sharing. That's why one of the best ways to stay connected is to ask before offering advice. A simple question like, "Would you like my thoughts on this?" doesn't just show respect. It opens a space for mutual conversation, where the other person gets to choose whether to receive your words. We don't need to stay silent forever, but let our words be welcomed, not imposed. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is stay quiet, just long enough to be invited in. Have you ever found yourself in a situation like this, where what you said, though loving, left someone speechless or distant? If so, you're not alone. Leave us a comment below, because your story might help someone else understand they're not the only one who's been hurt or misunderstood. But understanding is just the beginning. Change is something else. Some people don't mean to talk too much or give too much advice. They just don't know how to adjust to a world that's changing every single day. And that brings us to another habit: not adapting to technology and unknowingly becoming isolated. Some distances aren't caused by geography, but by something much more invisible: screens, apps, and the tiny tools our children and grandchildren use daily, while we sit quietly on the outside, unsure how to catch up. James, 81, living in the suburbs of Phoenix, once posted in a Facebook group for seniors, "I don't get why young people always text instead of calling, and why call through a screen. A normal phone call should be enough." But then one day, during his first video call in months, his granddaughter, studying far away in Oregon, teared up and said, "Grandpa, I miss your face so much. Phone calls just aren't enough." That moment opened his heart. James realized technology isn't replacing connection. It's extending it in the way the world works now. According to a 2022 Pew Research Center survey, older adults who use smartphones or tablets are 4 times more likely to connect with family through video calls compared to those who don't. They also join online communities, attend virtual classes, participate in Zoom gatherings, and as a result, feel less lonely and more included. Dr. Susan Pinker, a psychologist and author of The Village Effect, has emphasized any form of social connection, even digital, improves longevity, emotional well-being, and physical health in older adults. Still, many people hold on to the belief, "I'm old now, why bother learning this?" But here's the truth. Learning something new, no matter how small, keeps your brain flexible and your heart connected to the people you love. You don't have to know it all. Just learn one new thing each month: how to send a photo, how to make a video call, how to use social media to see your grandchildren's pictures. You'd be surprised. With just one tap, you could step into your loved one's world, laugh with them, Live with them, even if they're 1,000 miles away. And if you've ever thought, I'm not smart enough to learn this, remember, you once learned to drive, to raise children, to survive life's hardest trials. So really, how hard can one little app be? But sometimes, not being able to connect leads us to start expecting others to do all the reaching. And when that expectation keeps getting unmet, it slowly becomes a weight, one that others start to avoid without even realizing it. That's the next habit we'll talk about, waiting for others to reach out without taking the first step yourself. There are quiet days when we sit in a silent house watching the clock tick by, and a sadness creeps in. It's been a week and no one's called. Have they forgotten about me? That sadness is soft, not loud, but it spreads quietly through the heart, and slowly we begin to feel hurt, even though deep down we still love them dearly. Daniel, 73, from a rural town near Des Moines, Iowa, once shared during a church gathering that he didn't call his kids for 3 months. He was waiting to see, would they remember to call their dad? But no one did. One day he finally got a message from his son. Dad, I thought you were busy. I didn't want to bother you. That response left him speechless, and he realized the distance didn't come from neglect. It came from no one daring to take the first step. We often hope that others will remember us, care about us, reach out first. But relationships don't work on a who calls first wins rule. They're a two-way street. And if we keep waiting, we miss so many chances to say, I love you, to send a kind message, simply because we let silence speak for our heart. According to the American Psychological Association, APA, older adults who take initiative in communication, even with a short message, a holiday card, or a quick phone call, maintain family relationships 67% longer than those who wait to be contacted. They report lower levels of depression, a stronger sense of connection, and most importantly, they're remembered more often during special occasions. Dr. Tara Brach, a renowned psychotherapist, once said, every small act of kindness you send out is like planting a seed. You may not see the bloom right away, but love always finds its way back. So, if you're missing someone, just pick up the phone. Don't wait for them to call first. You are just as worthy of love, and love doesn't care about pride. Think about this. Have you sent a kind wish to anyone today? If not, start now with a comment below. A hello, a simple blessing. Who knows? Maybe someone's been waiting to hear that from you. And if this video reminds you of someone you care about, share it with them as a small gift from the heart. Because whether you live alone or not, you always deserve to be cared for, to stay connected, and to live a life full of love, starting with you. And if you've made it this far with us, congratulations. You're not just learning how to preserve relationships. You're becoming a gentle light for those you hold dear. Now, let's move into a habit that 99% of people fall into. And it might be the key to being loved more and more each day, no matter your age or how silver your hair has become. There's a feeling that few people over 70 dare to admit. The sense that you're no longer needed in the very home you helped build. For most of your life, you were the decision maker, the go-to person for everything from meals to major life choices. And now at family gatherings, you find yourself quietly sitting in a corner, just watching and listening. Harold, 79, living in the suburbs of Seattle, used to run a small family business for nearly 40 years. After retiring, he kept trying to manage his children's financial decisions, from buying homes and raising grandkids to even rearranging the kitchen of his youngest daughter. At first, they nodded along out of respect, but one Thanksgiving, his eldest son gently said, "Dad, it's time for us to make our own decisions. We'll ask for your advice when we need it, okay?" Harold was stunned, not angry, but deeply aware for the first time that his care had quietly become a burden. According to the National Institute on Aging, letting go of the leadership role is one of the greatest emotional challenges older adults face after retirement or when their children become independent. The loss of a once central role can lead to mild depression, anxiety, or a painful sense of being left behind. But those who learn to pass the torch, willingly and gracefully, are often seen not as fading figures, but as the warm heart of the family. Not leaders of control, but keepers of peace. Dr. Naomi Eisenberger, a family psychologist at UCLA, once said, "In every family, there are roles that may no longer be at the center, but they remain at the core. like a lamp that no longer shines like a spotlight, but gives off a gentle glow everyone still needs at night. And here's the beauty of it. When we step back, it's not retreating. It's allowing others to grow. It's letting them remember us with gratitude, not with a sense of being controlled. Strangely enough, when you step back, you're sought out even more, because then people feel you as a place of calm, not a voice of judgment. Are you in a similar place as Harold? Have you ever felt like your role was slipping away, or have you bravely chosen to let go at the right time? Share your story in the comments. You never know who might be inspired by your wisdom on how to step back with grace. And if this reflection touches something in you, please like the video and share it. Let more people discover Golden Wise Elders, because on the journey of being a parent or a grandparent, it's not always about taking charge. Sometimes just sitting still and smiling at the right moment is the most powerful act of love. Now let's move to a softer, quieter habit, one that often goes unnoticed the moment we begin to feel less beautiful, less fit to be seen, and slowly start withdrawing from social gatherings. But is that retreat really because we're not welcome, or because we haven't been gentle enough with ourselves? There's a quiet sadness that few talk about, that moment when you look in the mirror and no longer recognize the face looking back. The eyes are dimmer, the hair is gray, your hands tremble just a little, and you wonder, would anyone really want to see me like this? So you start turning down invitations, making excuses not to attend weddings, birthdays, reunions. Bit by bit, you quietly step away, as if you no longer belong. Jean, 74, from Sacramento, used to be full of energy. She loved dancing and hosting tea parties. But after a knee replacement surgery made it harder to move around, she began declining invitations to meet up with friends. Her daughter shared, "Mom won't even video call with the grandkids because she thinks she looks too old." But honestly, all they want is to hear her voice. Jean's story is not uncommon. According to the National Poll on Healthy Aging from the University of Michigan, 42% of people aged 65 and older feel anxious about how they look or their health when appearing in front of others. The heartbreaking part is, most don't talk about it. They simply fade quietly from social life. Dr. Becca Levy, a professor at Yale and expert in aging, has shown that older adults who carry negative self-images tend to live shorter, less fulfilling lives than those who embrace aging with a positive mindset. Insecurity isn't just a feeling. It becomes an invisible wall, keeping us from receiving love. We often forget. Our loved ones don't need us to be perfect. They just want to know we're still here. A genuine smile, a wave on a video call, a simple "have you eaten today?" Sometimes that's all it takes to brighten someone's entire day. And you know, growing old doesn't mean fading away. It's simply a different kind of beauty. A beauty that has lived through years, through loss, and still remains, ready to love. Have you been quietly skipping invitations because you feel you're no longer at your best? Maybe today's the day to change that. Call someone you love, send a message, or simply leave a hello in the comments below. A small reminder that you're still here, still connected, and still warmly welcomed. And if this part of the video speaks to a tender place in your heart, please share it. Someone else might be hiding too, someone who needs to know they're not alone, because behind that quiet insecurity, there are hearts longing to be seen. And sometimes all we need to do is give ourselves permission to show up, even if it starts with just a smile. Now, before we head into the final part of today's journey, take a moment to reflect. Have you ever found yourself comparing young people to who you were back then? Is that truly fair? Or could it be an invisible crack in the relationships you care most about? Habit 7. Comparing generations. Judging the young by the standards of the past. Some words may sound harmless, but they leave a quiet sting. Like when we say, "By your age, I was already raising 3 kids." Or shake our heads, young people today, always glued to their phones. These words don't come from a place of harm. Often they're born from pride, from the hard times we survived. But to the ones hearing them, they can feel like silent cuts, making them feel inadequate, misunderstood. Michael, 78, from Austin, Texas, used to be close with his 19-year-old grandson. Until one day, the boy quietly said, "Grandpa, it feels like every time I tell you something, you say your generation did it better. I don't want to share anymore." Michael recalled with a saddened gaze, "I didn't realize. I thought I was just sharing." But in that moment of unintentional comparison, a gap had formed, not with words but with silence. Sociological studies at Stanford University have shown that generational comparisons, especially ones implying the old days were better, make younger people feel like they're living under a shadow instead of being recognized as a generation facing their own unique challenges. Dr. Jennifer Senior, author of All Joy and No Fun and an expert in intergenerational relationships, said, "The difference between generations isn't about who did it better. It's about who understands more." When older adults pause to listen, they don't lose respect. They gain love as compassionate guides. And you know what? Young people don't need you to agree with everything they do, but they desperately need to feel seen without judgment, to feel safe enough to share their world with you. When they realize you're not just a storyteller of the past, but someone who listens to the present, then you become the bridge between two worlds that once seemed so far apart. And now, you've walked with me through 9 subtle habits that may be pushing people away. Not because they love you less, but maybe because of small things we've never noticed. But it is you, with just a little reflection and care, who can become someone people want to be around, choose to be with, and remember, with warmth and respect. Not everyone needs advice, but almost everyone longs for someone who listens, truly listens, and that someone could be you. Have you ever sat with your grandchild, listening to their stories of school, love, or struggles so foreign to your time, and felt tempted to set the record straight? But what if, instead of reacting or correcting, you simply smiled and asked, "And how did that make you feel?" You'd be amazed. Their eyes light up, because finally, they've been heard without being judged. Peter, 82, from San Jose, shared at a local community gathering, "I lost touch with my granddaughter because I kept interrupting her stories. One day, I stayed quiet, just asked if she wanted me to keep listening. Since then, she calls me every week." According to Dr. Laura Carstensen, director of the Stanford Center on Longevity, older adults can be natural emotional advisors if they learn to listen before they speak. She says, "Listening is a priceless gift, especially when it doesn't come with instructions." Older adults often think, "I've been through this, I know what works." But sometimes, what children and grandchildren need isn't knowledge. It's a safe space to open up, and you can be that safe place if you're willing to sit down, stay quiet, and smile with kindness. But listening is just the beginning. There's something else, something small but deeply powerful, that can make you the kind of person everyone wants to be around. Whether it's your children, grandchildren, or even your friends, it's the feeling you leave behind after every encounter. Have you ever noticed how some people, just by being around, make you feel lighter, calmer, at peace? They don't preach, they don't correct, yet somehow, after spending time with them, you want to come back again. Wouldn't you love to be that kind of person? Raymond, 80, from Denver, once shared in a support group, "I used to think people respected you more if you were strict, if you gave them rules, but then I saw how my grandkids always flocked to their grandma, even though she never taught them anything. One day they told me, 'Grandma makes us feel happy and safe.' That stopped me in my tracks." Habit pardash, how you make others feel, is what they'll always remember. The positive feeling after a conversation isn't always about what you say. It's in the energy you bring. It's in your gentle smile as you listen, your patient eyes when someone struggles to speak, your calm and full presence, not rushed, not judgmental. According to a study from the University of California, those seen as sources of positive energy in family or social groups are invited more often and more likely to be confided in by loved ones. They don't need money or gifts. They simply create comfort, and that makes them emotional anchors in others' lives. Dr. Rick Hansen, author of Hardwiring Happiness, once said, "We leave a mark on others' hearts by the feeling we give them, not by the words we speak." And if that feeling is positive, people will always want to come back. So after every encounter, ask yourself, how do I want others to feel after spending time with me? If your answer is warm, safe, at peace, then you're already on the right path, because people might forget what you wore or what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. Has someone ever told you, "I love being around you," or "You make me feel calm, Grandma"? If so, write that memory in the comments below. A little reminder that you're spreading something beautiful. And if you've never heard that before, start today. Be a little gentler, a little softer, a little more understanding, and you'll see love will find its way back to you. Aging isn't a door that closes. It's a new chapter, a chance to slow down and become the gentle light that warms the hearts of those we love. You've just walked with me through 9 subtle habits that can unintentionally distance us from others. and two powerful shifts that can bring us closer to those who matter most. Perhaps somewhere in these words, you recognized a piece of yourself. Maybe a moment you spoke too quickly, judged too soon, or forgot to pause before reacting. But the beauty is this: it's never too late to change. Love doesn't age, and your family, they're still waiting for a softer, kinder version of you to step forward. Before we say goodbye, let me tell you one last story, and maybe, just maybe, you'll see yourself in it. Margaret, 76, lived alone on the outskirts of Portland. After her husband passed and her children moved away, she grew quiet, withdrawn. She often blamed her children for not calling, her grandkids for not visiting. But one day, a friend gently suggested she try something different. So instead of waiting, Margaret began texting her granddaughter every morning, wishing you a wonderful day. Instead of complaining, she'd send pictures of her new lavender plant. Grandpa would have loved this scent. Instead of staying sad, she learned how to use FaceTime, even though her hands trembled. 3 months later, on Thanksgiving, her entire family, from 3 different states, returned to her home for the first time in nearly 6 years. Her youngest granddaughter hugged her tightly and whispered, "I just feel safe when I'm with you, Grandma." In just 3 months, Margaret went from feeling forgotten to becoming the heart of her family. Not because she changed others, but because she had the courage to change herself. See, no one is ever too old to be loved, and it's never too late to reconnect. All it takes is one small step, today. And who knows, the next heartwarming story might be yours. If this video helped you see yourself again, please leave a comment below. Not just for us to know you're here, but for someone else to read it and think, I'm not alone after all. And if you believe this message deserves to be shared, don't hesitate. Like this video, send it to a friend or family member. Maybe they need these words just as much as you did. Don't forget to subscribe to Golden Wise Elders and turn on notifications, so every week we can sit together again, like old friends, and talk about how to live well in the most beautiful years of our lives. And before we say goodbye, please remember this: wisdom isn't about how much you know. It's about how you use your silence, your smile, and your heart to make others feel good around you. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for choosing to become the kind of grandparent others will always carry in their hearts.